So we're just looking here at a bit of an overview of stats again, comparing some elements of last year with this year. We might look at just one or two technical elements around that. So we'll see here. This is our kickouts here over here. It's averaged out those four games. Dunshaughlin, Screen, O'Mahony's and Kell. So from 58 long kickouts that we hit long ourselves, we won 30 and lost 28, scored 110, conceded 210. So overall, we made a loss of 5% of a point per long kick out, which is, slightly concerning, but not massively so. What is a much more significant figure is that from the 64 long kickouts other teams won, despite the fact that they only won 27 and lost 37, they scored 4-6 and we scored 112. So there's a much more significant thing jumping out there, albeit it's still only a 5% of a point loss per kick. The 4 goals there is quite significant. Obviously, now if you take out the Kells game, those figures change significantly. And they've scored 1-6 and we scored 110, and we're making an 8% of a point profit on their kicks. And on our own kicks, long kicks, again, we were more or less the same, 1-7, 1-8. Now, again, if we just change this up a bit and just look at kicks to the full back line, and we're going to count the first possession each, because obviously teams kind of half let you get it to the full back line sometimes. We will see that we didn't go short a huge amount really, but this is definitely a bit of a red flag. But we'll see how it's evolved. We scored from 12 that we won. We scored a point, and we conceded 2-1 in the first turnover. So we're actually losing a point every two short kickouts on average. Opposition is almost neutral. So that's just slightly interesting. Now, obviously, this year is much more significant. I'm going to ignore the second in a skiing game because it was or the second half of in a skiing because it was just a shit show really. And we'll just look at Donaghmore, Crokes, and the first half of Inniskeen. And interestingly, what's interesting here is, and this is a red flag now to some extent for us, because now I'm hoping the session last night will have changed all this up. So from 11 short kickouts we've got off, we've actually only scored 2 points. I only shot wide on 2 more, so we've only got 4 out of 11 shots off, which isn't good enough. We've conceded 1 in the first turnover, so we don't have a massive profit off those short kickouts, which you would like to have. Sorry. I've left out the Donaghmore game. I knew those figures weren't right. The Donaghmore game actually raises more of an alarm bell. So from 16, we've got 4 points and conceded 4 in the first turnover. So we're not really making massive hay on them. Now, obviously, the other standout issue, we've lost 2 of them, one of which ended up as a point. So that original thing is 4 scored and 3 conceded on the first turnover. Oppositions, they've scored 5 from 11, conceded 3 in the first turnover. So again, I'd like to get that down to neutral or a positive reading for us, but it's not bad. But definitely, I suppose, where we're looking at the moment, that figure has to improve. That 4 from 18 and 4 conceded, because we're not actually making a profit off our short kick out. It's neutral. Now, what's interesting is if we go into midfield, and just to simplify this, I'm only going to count for a minute for the first one, who scored on the first possession. And you'll see here that from 29 long kickouts, we've won 17, lost 12. We've scored 8 points, conceded 1-5. So once again, that figure isn't giving us a profit, but where we're making real hay, and this is the standout one, and is the opposition kicks, which is that they've won 18, we've won 17, but they've scored 4 points and we scored 1-8. So we're making a profit of 20% of a point per opposition long kick out, which, as things stand, if those figures remain the same over the next, with the 3 games before we go into championship, we're actually going to probably look at abandoning the 5v6 split and going aggressive on the kickouts, because that's where it's showing us where the joy is. But that's just a general overview. I actually meant to look at last year's figures on that first, but because there's quite standout on that, which we've improved hugely on this year with the +1 at the back on the opposition kickouts. You'll see here on our own long kickouts last year, we won 30, lost 28. Sorry, I think did I go through that? I can't remember. But the standout figure, sorry, I did. Yeah, sorry, what am I saying? I did. And I suppose just to look at one or two of these, I suppose, to show examples, and we will see here. This one really sums up a lot of what was wrong. First was this one here. And this just isn't going to happen this year. And again, you look at that Cathal Hickey breaches figure. Like, look at Cathal Hickey on this. It's just schoolboy stuff. Left to centre forward for a speculative break. Now, again, the reason I do this was, number one, Cathal Hickey is just schoolboy defending. Two, the question I'm asking is why I'd love to do the 30-metre sprint test. Is Joseph Moore this much slower than this guy, or does he just not exert himself fully on the back foot when he's on the back foot? I don't know the answer to that question if we do 30-metre sprints. But that was just thoroughly naive. Whereas we compare that to and it just shows how far coaching on really fine details will improve you. Look at the difference in Cathal Hickey on this score here. Now look at it. Now again, I spent 2 days in Spain coaching this to the DIT boys. Look at his break position here. He's in touch tight inside his man, but in a position that here in the bottom right, he's touch tight on his man in a position. It's just a perfect break position. That he's on his shoulder, that if it bounces over him, he can defend it. If your man's going to win it, he has to risk getting hurt, but he's a chance of winning it himself. And as soon as we win it, gone. And that just shows the difference. And this is when it was 14-12 against Dunamore when they were coming back. And it was probably the point that turned the game. So just shows a few structural things there.